officials at the U.S. State Department were so concerned about the anti-Muslim videos that President Trump retweeted yesterday, they told the White House they were actually worried that the president's actions might spark a reprise of violent protests at U.S. embassies in the Middle East. They're already on high security alert. Quote, it didn't manifest in anything actionable, but it was a big concern. One State Department official told CNN reporters Elise Labott and Abby Phillip. Just think about that for a second. President Trump's State Department worried about the safety and security of Americans abroad. And why? Because the president recklessly pushed out videos of questionable veracity from an extremist far-right-wing Britain First group. The resulting security concerns are just another example of how far-reaching and deeply felt the president's words can be. Still, this is the White House response just minutes ago.
I think what he's done is elevate the conversation to talk about a real issue and a real threat. That's extreme violence and extreme terrorism, something that we know to be very real and something the president feels strongly about talking about and bringing up and making sure is an issue every single day, that we're looking at the best ways to protect Americans. John?
On that point, Sarah, did the president, when he retweeted Jada Franson, know who she was?
No, I don't believe so. But I think he knew what the issues are.
So, to recap, the president did not know who the source was, an extremist far-right group, and he thought these videos that clearly seek to portray Muslims as dangerous savages, he thought that that would elevate the conversation. So what do our friends across the pond have to say about the president's retweets?
And wouldn't the world be a better place if the Prime Minister could persuade the President of the United States to delete his Twitter account?
Prime Minister Theresa May stopped short today of canceling the president's upcoming state visit to Downing Street, but she did say this.
I'm very clear that retweeting from Britain First was the wrong thing to do.
After all, it was just last year when a British member of Parliament, Joe Cox, was murdered by an extreme right-wing man who shouted Britain first as he did so. And here's her widower.
This is like the president retweeting the Ku Klux Klan. You know, this is not a mainstream organization. And for the president of the United States, our greatest ally as a country, to be retweeting, to be providing a microphone to those voices.
This concern about the president's behavior consumed a great deal of time in Parliament today in London, where leaders are expressing concerns about the behavior and judgment of the President of the United States. But President Trump, as always, loath to admit a mistake. He tweeted to Prime Minister May, quote, don't focus on me. Focus on the destructive radical Islamic terrorism that is taking place within the United Kingdom. We are doing just fine. We are doing just fine. That is, of course, unless you're in a U.S. embassy bracing for violence because of the president's impulse control issues, I suppose, or if you're the parent of a Muslim American child and you're worried that the president's retweets of that bigotry might have some horrific action and response on your kid, or if you're an American just worried about fundamental basic loss of decency by the president of the United States. Except for that, we are just fine. Absolutely.